Already, we're speaking with Derek Davis from Babylon A.D. They got a new album coming out soon called When the World Stops. So, Derek, when is the album coming out? We got the new song already. When's the
Yeah,
full?
the album drops on September 1st. There's pre-orders right now for anybody that wants to pre-order is out, but the album officially drops on September 1st.
So, I was checking out the video, and I remember in our last conversation, you had told me that you were doing a lot of the video production yourself. Are you still doing that?
Yeah, I do everything, all the production. I've been doing it for many, many years.
And it looks like you definitely enjoy the hell out of it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That the whole AI thing is just amazing what you can do nowadays because before I used to kind of like hire people like to give me clips and then I'd edit everything together and I'd have the band live, how I wanted them to look and things like that, like putting together a puzzle. But
Hmm.
now you can just do it with AI. It's kind of crazy. So I've saved a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of energy, you know.
The tech is amazing now, and it's scary actually how good it's getting.
It is scary, man. On that point, just today, a new song dropped, supposedly by us, Babylon AD / Vinnie Vincent Invasion, called Fuel the Fire. And if you go to Spotify, the latest release by Babylon AD, Vinnie Vincent, that is not us. It's
Whoa.
AI generated. And we found out just today that it's some guy named Zayed Malik Hambari or something like that. And doing a little bit of research, we found out that this guy, whoever he is or wherever he is, been doing it to people for about the last 6 months.
Wow.
Different bands and things like that, and country artists, everything. This guy is just creating stuff and going on and making money off of people's names and likeness.
That's scary. And then
It is
trying to figure
really
out where he
scary.
is, it probably is not even in this country.
No, it doesn't look like it. Looks like he's in India or something.
That's insane.
Yeah.
At first, you had to worry about people making fake Facebook profiles. Now you got to worry about them stealing your music or making
Yeah.
music and saying it's
Well,
you.
it's not our music, it's somebody else. I mean, anyone that listened to the song, I listened to the song, you can pretty much tell it's AI generated. It's too perfect. It doesn't sound like me singing at all, but it's just stock kind of boring rock.
Oh man. Well, that's yeah. It doesn't have the heart and soul.
No, and it's too polished, that it's just too polished. It's just it's very irritating that somebody could do that though. But I think maybe it will stop when somebody starts ripping off the U2 or the Rolling Stones or Metallica.
Yeah.
Maybe it'd be a class action lawsuit versus like Spotify, because if you go to Spotify and read what they'll do, they won't do nothing right now. They don't have a policy to take down AI songs. So you could write an AI song right now, or your grandma can put it up on Spotify, bam, start making money off it. Is that
That's
crazy?
ridiculous. That's nuts. That's
It's not.
wrong.
It's wrong. That's right.
Yeah. Should
So,
not
so
happen.
somebody's got to sue Spotify for not having some kind of gate to
Yeah.
know what an AI song is. You would think with all the technology that they have, that I mean, come on, you know what I mean?
Especially when you're
Making
trying to
money
put
on
out
the
your own stuff and then this is competing with it.
yeah.
And a lot of the people may not know the difference.
No, because we got an email to this morning. Hey man, I heard your new song. It's pretty cool. We're like, what are you talking about? I thought they were talking about When the World Stops.
Yeah.
And it was Fuel the Fire. And I went, Fuel the Fire? What the hell is this? And so and then the whole band and our management started doing some digging. And by the end of the day, we're still doing some digging, but at least we found out who put it up. Now we're trying to figure out how to get it taken down.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot of these big tech companies, it's really hard to get them to do anything. And customer service and figuring out where they are, like you could write an email, click their link, and then never hear anything about it.
Well, and they won't have they don't have a phone for customer service easy either.
No.
Yeah, you have to, it'll say right there, you were talking to an AI generated bot. That's the help desk.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Well, let's talk about the real Babylon AD
Yeah, let's do that.
and the real Derek Davis. And so obviously we talked about you're still doing your own videos. Is the band the same lineup since the last record?
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody's still in there, still rocking away. How did the last tour go? The last album was fantastic.
Thank you.
This is a couple years later, you're putting out the new record.
Yeah.
But what were you writing while on tour or kind of?
Well, we had songs or some songs left over that we written. We wrote 16 songs for the last album, and they were all good songs. So we knew that we had about 4 or 5 songs kind of like in our pocket. And in between the last 16 months, we've written some new ones, and I had a couple old ones that I never even showed the band, until I was like, well, we need a couple more songs. What do you guys think about that? And they were like, holy smokes, man, why didn't you show this one on the last album or, Revelation Highway, because they were really good songs, but I just didn't know if the band would like them. So we had enough songs to put out a new album pretty quick. It's really, I think it's a 16, 17 month turnaround.
Oh, wow. And then what is your songwriting process? I mean, do you write the music first or do you write the lyrics or is it a combination?
I'd say 75% of the time the music comes first, and then the melody, and then the subject matter. Like, what am I going to write about? What is the song about? But the music's got to kind of speak to you. It's got to
Hmm.
drive you either like real hard or it's got to soft or whatever the melody is. Like, okay, I think I'm going to write about this because this is what it sounds like. And after I get the melody established, then I start looking for some sort of story. I'm always kind of look when I'm writing lyrics, I'm always kind of look for in my mind, I'm looking for like a very short movie, instead of just the typical up all night, let's party every single day type of thing. I'm looking
Yeah.
for kind of like a little visual movie in my mind.
So is there topics that you don't touch when you do this, or is anything open game for you?
I don't think I think about it like that. I think I just kind of like let it flow. Whatever happens, happens.
Okay.
But if something comes up and I go, that sounds pretty cool, but man, it kind of sounds corny. I mean, I'm not going to write anything about being with a high school girl when I was 14 or something like that. I mean, there's some things you just, you're too old now to be writing about that adolescent crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is funny when I see a band who had a big hit song in their, early 20s, and the song talks about, a certain age being underage. Then you see
Mhm.
them, 25, 30 years later, and
Yeah,
it's like, okay, now it looks a little creepy coming out of you.
exactly. So it'd be even creepier if you wrote a song like that right now.
Exactly. People are like,
Yeah.
oh, wait a minute. So tell me about the new album. It's called When the World Stops. You said September 1st.
Yep.
It'll be out. Tell us about the record. What's anything different compared to the last album?
Uh, uh, to be honest with you, there's a lot of different songs on this album. Uh, how do I explain it? I use some different instrumentations. I had a friend of mine, Julie Pacheco, who was the wife of Eric Pacheco, who was a bass player for a while, for about 4 or 5 years, and he passed away a couple years ago. But she is a great piano player.
Oh,
So
wow.
I had this one song that I wrote about maybe 10 years ago, and her and I worked it up on piano, and then I just said, "Okay, man, I just want you to go to town on it." And I swear it is a beautiful piece. Usually we don't put piano in our songs, but this song is like piano acoustic driven, you know. So it's a little different for something kind of like our first album had song like a Sally Danced on it, which was really bluesy and slide guitar and harmonica and stuff like that. This album has a few of those type of songs that go different directions instead of just heavy guitars and then vocals. So I think there's a lot more color. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it seems like as you guys been going forward, you've kind of been expanding or testing out different corners of the music world. Would you say
Yeah,
that as you've been getting older?
yeah, I think so. You're less constricted because there's not a record company telling you better do this or you got to do this or you got to sound like Bon Jovi or you know what I mean. There's no one telling us that we have to do something. And if we don't like something, then we just I don't want to go there. Let's go this way.
Obviously you guys came out of that hard rock scene of the 80s, early 90s,
Hmm.
before grunge, before all that stuff, but you guys
Yeah,
have obviously stuck around. You've been doing it forever and a day now.
yeah,
Do you find yourself, obviously there was more, I would say the glamour is there in the early days of MTV and all that
yeah.
stuff. But
Mhm.
do you find now because of the freedom that you have without a record label and without that stuff, are you enjoying it more?
I think so. People ask me that kind of a lot, and the only thing I can say is, it's still fun, man. it's still fun. Like we just played this weekend in Denver, and then we played Salt Lake City, and the week before that we played the Whiskey Go Go,
Hmm.
and just the live crowd, man. I don't know how to explain it to people, but when you're up on stage and you're playing for a live crowd and they're singing your lyrics back to you, you just get this rush of like, wow, it means something to them. It means some more to you, because you're like, all that. I'm thinking like all that work I put in to try to hope that people will like my songs, even though I'm not writing for them specifically, somehow it crossed over my thoughts and my ideas into their lives, and it's fun when you're talking to people after the shows and they tell you stories about songs you wrote. Oh man, this song, me and my friend were driving in a car and we were going to this concert and Hammer Swings Down came on. So they have, just like I have um special memories of like going to Leonard Skinner or Led Zeppelin or Aerosmith when I was a young teenager. You know what I mean? They have the same thing as us. So
I,
I think it's cool.
I would think too, based on what you were saying just a couple moments ago, we were talking about when you're on a label deal and they want you to sound a certain way. You mentioned sound like Bon Jovi, sound like whatever's the hot commodity at the
Yeah,
moment.
whoever's hot right then, that's second.
And they want you to sound like that to change or whatever. And maybe you like that stuff and maybe, you have a look for it or et cetera at that point, but maybe your interests lie elsewhere and maybe what you
Absolutely.
grew up. So you're going into their constrictions. Now you can be a little bit, maybe Derek Davis can be Derek Davis.
Well, that's where I get my yah-yahs out by releasing my solo albums, because then it's like, hey, check it out, I got a soul album out. Hey, check it out, I got a blues album out. I mean, I'm able to channel, stuff that I grew up on that I really like. I mean, uh, I still listen to like Al Green, Marvin Gaye, James Brown, Wilson Pickett. I mean, I listen to all the old guys, you know what I mean? Um, soul guys, and I'm really into blues guys, Elmer James, things like that, Son House, you know, and I always have. I don't really listen to stuff. If somebody told me a band right now that sounds like us, I'd say, "Oh, do they really?" Because I don't know. I don't listen to any. I don't listen to hard rock, to be honest with you, except for what I'm writing, and that's just the vehicle of Babylon A.D. Like that's just the car that I step into, and
Yeah.
I'm in this car, you know, and
And then
then
you have the Derek Davis solo stuff, the other
yeah,
car.
now I get to go to this car. You know what I mean? And when I'm writing a song, I don't try to sit down and go, okay, now I gotta try to write a song like this. It never happens like that. It's just I'm screwing around on guitar, and all of a sudden, wow, that sounds pretty cool. Oh, this sounds like you know, so and so or whoever, or sometimes I'll start writing something that's like, wow, this song kind of sounds like Simon and Garfunkel. I don't know if anybody's gonna buy that, but let me see what happens. You know what I mean?
So when you're writing in that process, when you're in that creative mode, do you get something like this sounds like a Babylon AD part?
Exactly. So
And then,
when
oh, this sounds like this will be for me.
exactly, I'll be just a lot of times I'm just sitting there watching a movie or something, or watching the news, but my hands are just just wailing away. Wow, that was pretty cool. What was that? Oh, wait a minute. Let me go with that. Let me see what happens there. And then I'll pull my phone out if I get like 4 or 5 chords. Okay, now I got something. Now I'll start working on that. Maybe I'll come in the studio because okay, screw that movie. If I don't do this right now, I might lose the idea. Or a lot of times, to be honest with you, it's kind of strange. Dave Medichetti told me the same thing used to happen to him. Uh, I'll be dead asleep, man. 4 o'clock in the morning. I have a song in my brain, the melody, the idea, the lyrics, and it's like, man, if I don't get out of bed right then and get to my phone and get to my studio and pull up my acoustic or something like that, I'm gonna lose it because when it first starts happening, you just think I'll remember it, and you just go back to sleep saying it over and over and over again, the melody, you know.
Oh yeah.
Then you wake up, you go, gosh, now what was that melody, man? You know,
Well,
so
it's crazy now, because comparatively go back 20 years, yeah, you should have a tape recorder next to your bed. Now we all got one of these,
yeah,
a
and
recording
it
device.
helps.
You can
Yeah,
hopefully get the idea out on there.
it helps a lot. My wife's like, "What are you doing?" I know it's 4:30 in the morning, but I got to go downstairs and get this at least going. So when I wake up, at 8 or 7, I'm in the studio. Okay, now I'm going to work on this song today, because it just came to me. Funny story, like When the World Stops, all the lyrics to that. Ron had a riff and he sent it to me a tape, and I said, "Oh, that's pretty cool." So we were in Sayulita, Mexico, and I pulled out the acoustic and I started fooling around, and I kind of made it into a song. Like, okay, I got a verse here, I got a pre-hook, I got a chorus. I'm trying to figure out what I'm singing about. And then, of course, it's like, hey, let's go to the beach. So, oh, I got that little bit of music recorded. I come back, listen to it. Okay, now all day long, I'm thinking of lyrics and music. Now we're driving in cars, going to vans, going to places, and the whole time I'm like this. Maybe when the world stops, I'm like, and my wife and our friends every once in a while going, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm writing a song." You're writing a song. Well, yeah, I'm writing a song because if I have the idea right now, and if I don't keep going with it, I'm gonna, I'm gonna lose it. You
Yeah, I've
know,
talked to a few different musicians where they have the same experience that you do, and then I've talked to others where they go, "Yeah, we're gonna get up tomorrow. We're gonna write a few songs," and then other ones I've talked to going, "No way I could do that. It comes when it comes. You gotta follow the muse when it happens."
the only person I was able ever to do that was when I wrote with Jack Pawnee. I wrote about 9 songs with him in 2 different occasions. And the first time I was there at his house for 1 week, and we wrote 5 songs, recorded them all.
Oh wow.
And a couple songs ended up in movies, and 3 or 4 of the songs ended up on our album. But he was like, okay, I got a riff. Let's get up in the morning and start working on the riff, you know? And then by, let's say that'd be 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. By 12 o'clock, I'm already writing lyrics, and it was like working, and but the riff was so good, it wasn't hard to try to, conjure something. And then by 2 o'clock, we're in the studio recording the song.
Oh
And I'm
wow.
singing the song by 6 at night, and now we got a song. It was the only time that I'd ever kind of just went to work, but somehow it worked out, you know.
But mostly it could be you're driving down the road,
Most
or
of the
or
time,
you
I'm
wake up
yeah,
at 4:30.
totally oblivious. I mean, we might hang up right now, and I'll pick up the guitar and start screwing around, and whoa, I got something, or I might have crap,
So, I know I was looking at your touring schedule. So I know the album comes out like we talked about at the beginning of September. And then I'm sure there'll be some other songs that we get to play as well off of that. I'm looking forward to hearing the whole thing and playing it.
Yeah,
But I noticed your tour, at least what I'm seeing at BabylonAD.com, I'm noticing that it's all Europe at this point, at least through end of September. Any
yeah.
stateside shows getting planned?
Yeah, they're working on that right now. What we wanted to do was just kind of concentrate on releasing the record on September 1st and going to the UK through September. Um, but and then taking a little bit of a break, because I think we're going to be pretty exhausted. And then so now they're already working on guitar on dates for like November, December, January, February, stuff like that. But the booking agent is just in talks with all the promoters and clubs, but there's a bunch of little things that are coming through. It's just that we didn't feel like we should put it up yet because we're trying to focus on the release of the album, like, you know what I
Oh,
mean? Every single show, like a record release, really hone in on that.
so when you're playing Europe and you're playing England, obviously it's a different business over there. It's a different type of memories for a lot of the people. Radio is a lot different, was a lot different over there as well.
Mhm.
Do you go over there and find that you have different songs that hit audiences different, or do they have the same memories that the US audiences have?
They think they have the same memories of the first 2 albums. So, you're trying to capture the new albums, the 3 albums that we've released since 2017, this one and Rome Wasn't Built in a Day and Revelation Highway. So you got to play a few songs off each tune. I mean, I'm sorry, off each album. But over there they like the heavier stuff, you know. They don't like, at least that's my perception. We played there 3 other times. And every time we kept with our heavy stuff, man, they dig it, you
Oh,
know.
wow.
But I'm sure there's, I don't know, I'm sure there's bands that go over there and they just don't really have any heavy stuff, maybe like Poison or something like that, or Firehouse. They don't really have kick ass slamming in your face songs like we do. So maybe they get a great response too. I don't really know. I just know that they like hard melodic, you know, power, aggressive.
So obviously how in contact are you with some of the other musicians from the late 80s, early 90s that came up with you guys?
Not
A
too
lot of
much,
people
man. Not too much. Back in the day, yeah, but everybody when we get older, you start going your separate ways, man. You get married, you move out. I mean, I lived in Hollywood for 7 years, so I had a lot of musician friends and things like that. And but after you start moving away and you have kids and you get your businesses and things like that, it's maybe I'll talk to a guy like James Lomenzo, for once every 2 years. Hey, what's up, bro? That
Yeah.
kind of thing, or one of the guys in Tesla or something, or whoever it may be, but you might have been really tight at one time, but heck, 30 years later,
Yeah. And
life goes on.
that's pretty much it, the way it is with everybody.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
It's rare if it's not, right?
That's true. Yeah. People are still living the same life that they lived when they were 20, when they're 50, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little strange.
Very much so. Derek, if people want to follow the band, obviously, we were talking about AI, but I know that you guys have your own social media pages. Do you guys
Yeah.
have the blue check mark and stuff like that?
Yeah. Well, we have Babylon AD band.com. That's where everybody, either buys their 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 tickets to shows, or if they want t-shirts or things like that, or watch new videos or whatever they want to know about us. But our Facebook page is pretty much one of those things where, it's just revolving something every day, you know, little tidbits of news and things like that. So a lot of people just hit us up on Facebook. It's just a lot easier than emailing us or finding out what's going on from a website, because website designers, maybe you throw something up every 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Facebook's constant every single day,
Yeah.
Babel TV face,
It is. It's totally social.
Instagram, all that kind of stuff. It's just that's what everybody does now. So you just kind of follow, how everybody how the world works now.
That's so true. So
And
different.
by next year, who knows? We might not even be doing interviews. It could be AI interviews. You'll send me the questions, and my AI guy will tell you.
Yeah. It'll be me AI too. We'll just be
Yeah,
two avatars talking to each other. Well,
crazy, man.
Derek, it's always a pleasure to talk and chat with you for a while.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll get you to Arizona and on the next part of your
Oh
tour.
yeah, I did hear some talk about that about a week and a half ago. Yeah,
Again, the website, real quick, is
BabylonADband.com, and then
and
Facebook, Babylon AD.
all right. Hold on, real quick. But thank you so much for spending some time with us here in Tucson, and looking forward to seeing you, hopefully in Tucson or in Arizona soon.
Absolutely. Looking forward to meeting you too, Larry.